So look, in just the next few minutes, I'm hopefully going to be joined by Grace Ballantyne of Melt Property. So Grace is chairing a panel for me today, which is focused on affordable housing. Grace is from Melt Property. I hope it's not too windy where I am. It's literally yards away from the Olympic pool. So I'm really looking forward to a swim session this morning. So as I say, coming up, join myself and join Grace in the next few minutes. As I say, in terms of what's going on for me in terms of events, August is usually a month when I don't do any events. Broken as a rule there. I have done events before in August, although in terms of this August, brilliant. So in terms of this August, I've got an event on Monday, Tuesday afternoon, a planning reform panel webinar at 1 p.m. just like today. Grace,
Hey,
is it really windy, the background? Because it's fairly open, so you can hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, I'm just seeing if my background's windy, but the trees are fine.
Okay.
So,
So look, Grace, you're chairing a panel this afternoon at 1 p.m. for people who are listening to this Instagram call, maybe live or just after we finish, and I'll share it on my IGTV. What should they expect? What do you think some of the key questions are? What's Melt experience of affordable property?
yeah, so the panel this afternoon is all about affordable housing, which is obviously needed here in the UK with the housing crisis that we have, and we're targeted to build over 300,000 new homes every year, and we're not coming close to that. So it's an area where I guess developers can not only benefit from, but also help other people that need housing. So I think a lot of the questions are going to be about how it all works. So what an RSL is, what an RP is, what a housing association is, what all the differences within this terminology, but also then how developers can actually benefit and tap into those resources from housing associations and affordable housing providers. And I think we're going to get a lot of funding questions as well, because people are going to want to know about where they can get the finance, what they need to do to get finance, what the requirements are from a funding perspective, but also what requirements housing associations are looking for from developer partners that they'll be working with. So I think it's going to be a really interesting session, a lot of fact finding. Yeah, it should be a good one.
Did you say fact finding, Grace? I was trying to.
Fact finding, yeah. What did you think I said?
I wasn't sure. It's just I have some background noise, some developments going on here by the Olympic Park as well. So
Okay.
it's one of the more interesting places in London by a long way.
Yeah.
I'm slightly biased. I will possibly have a webinar focused on East London at some point. It took me a lot of persuasion to have one on affordable housing. It was Ben Richards of All Architecture.
Yeah.
Suggested it.
I think it's really interesting though, Brendan, because I think it's a subject that's not, I don't think it's been an event topic really at many events at all, but I think also it's an area that people want to get into, but just don't quite know how to tap into that for their properties, whether that be that they're doing buy-to-lets and HMOs, or on the larger scale doing big development projects. I think people are really interested in it, but just don't know how to get the benefits from doing it, but also like where to even start. So that's why I said fact finding, not whatever else you thought I said.
Look, Grace, you know the best person on the panel there today is James Wood. Do you just say a few words about James?
So you've got a favourite on the panel then?
No, but you know James better than I.
Oh, right. I thought you said the best person on the panel is James Wood. I thought, oh, controversial.
No, I didn't say the best person you know.
Yeah, I know James really well. So James is construction director at EA Construction. So he has a background in obviously construction and development, but primarily in the Midlands as well. So he's built a lot of affordable housing schemes, but also just mainstream new build development as well. So we're actually working with James on a number of projects at the moment, one of those being an affordable housing, hopefully, development. So at the moment, that's looking like it's going to be around 100 odd units, of which half of those will be affordable housing and hopefully forward funded by an operator, but we can talk a little bit more about how that works this afternoon. So James has a lot of experience and seems to know basically everybody in affordable housing association world, all of that world. Anytime that I need to contact, or anytime that I say, hey, would this scheme work for a housing association, he just straight away knows who to contact and what they're looking for. So I think his knowledge is going to be really, really interesting and useful to everyone who's watching live.
Grace, I was just going to say, for the listeners, the platform we're using this afternoon is Zoom. So please do join on Zoom. How can you find out more about the event? If you go to my website, bequinevents.com/events, you can find out more about the event. You can have a look at the other panelists as well. Ashley Richmond, who's been on the Friday Property Happy Hour, I think it was in June.
Yes.
He may have been twice, but certainly once. And Sarah Walker is brand new to my events. And look, I'm really delighted to welcome new people to my events as well. So yes, there's been definitely challenges from March onwards. But one of the positives is that I've had new people to my events in terms of both attendees and also in terms of panelists. So Ashley is one of those who's... I have to admit, he was recommended to me before March. Because he's Manchester based, that's going to be a logistical issue for an evening event or a morning event. But with the joys of Zoom, I can do events where the speakers don't have to be in London, can be in Manchester, can be in Glasgow, Ross Harper, for example.
Really opens up your pool of panelists and also attendees, doesn't it, Brendan? So I think it's helped you to grow your audience during...
Yeah, definitely. So it does have benefits. And one call to action is if you've got an interesting profile, maybe you're something like Evan Main-Donald or Gavin Gallagher, and you're interested in presenting, you've got something to offer to my audience, do get in contact. Last year, Gavin Gallagher contacted me when I put a post out saying I'm doing a commercial summit. I caught up with him the next day in London in Mayfair, and then Gavin came on to the commercial summit in March. So I would say, just because you're based not in London possibly, I will be continuing after August on Zoom, certainly virtual for the mornings. Whether I do other interactions using Zoom or other platforms as well, but as I say, definitely I will be keeping a virtual element to my events as well. So Grace, any final thoughts? Because I promised it would be five minutes.
I think we've gone slightly over. Final thoughts? Well, yeah, I just think it's going to be a really interesting discussion this afternoon. And I guess anyone who's looking to bring an affordable housing element into their projects, whether that be, I guess, the big, larger scale developments, or even, you know, people have HMOs, buy-to-lets, and they're looking to turn those into social housing. I think it'll be an interesting panel discussion that will be relevant to them. And I think also it's a chance for people to get their questions answered and actually get some clarity on how it all works behind the scenes in the affordable housing world.
Look, one thing I haven't done this morning is I haven't encouraged you to submit questions now. The perfect place to be doing that is on the Zoom registration form. So there's a questionnaire saying what questions you have for the panel. And if you can do that before midday, that gives me time to send the questions over to Grace. So I'd encourage you not to wait until 12:45 to submit those questions, but submit those questions by midday. So Grace, massive thanks for taking time out today, and massive thanks to Melt Property, who are involved in today's event, with yourself, Grace. And then next week I've got Zoe Allen of Melt Property, Head of Marketing, on the Monday morning property brunch. And then Tuesday afternoon at 1 p.m. I've got Evan Main-Donald, who is the founder of Melt Property. So look, massive thanks to Melt for being involved in lots of my virtual events. I know Kunle Bark has been involved as well, head of design and delivery.
Yeah.
So massive thanks to Melt Property. Thanks, Grace.
Thanks, Brendan. See you this afternoon.
Bye-bye.